Hello guys, how are you doing? This is Alex back again at my home studio. Hope you're all doing well. And what do I have here? I have my favorite shaman drum. Nice. So, today we're going to discuss some important topics, and this is mainly Finnish government's decisions on easing out the rules of entry into the country, which was made last Thursday, so a few days ago, and we're going to understand what this really means for travel and how can you enter to Finland if you can at all. And we're also going through some of the news headlines and reactions of the local companies onto the situation. And I'm really glad to be back at this format with you. Last week I've missed one episode of our conversation here online, but I'm back. And we're going to do more of these podcasts with you guys, and actually I figured out a new way to make this podcast outdoors, so not only to be bound inside the studio where everything is comfortable and warm, but also to make it outside. And that's has been quite a challenge, and I'm still testing the format, but I think it's going to be great. So I'm hoping to do this podcast with you with guests in a live manner outside somewhere in the Lappish nature, or not in the room. So I think it's going to be pretty cool. So give me a few days to weeks to test this out, but I think it's going to be some great content. And actually one of the tests that we're going to do will be tomorrow morning, because we're going to visit a very special place, a workshop of Irene Kangasniemi, who actually made this drum that I have here. It's my favorite music instrument at the moment. She makes different kinds of handicrafts from Lapland, and we already had 2 episodes of our Aurora Shop special where we present our great products that we have on sale here. And Irene is one of the makers of these amazing products, and she's a very wonderful woman with lots of stories. So I think if going to watch it, prepare some popcorn and some tea or whatnot, because I think Irene has so much interesting stuff to tell you about Lapland and about the local materials and handicrafts. I think you're going to be overwhelmed. So we are due to start tomorrow at 11 o'clock Finnish time. So in 12 hours, actually less than 12 hours from now, we're going to do that at her workshop. So not here at my home, but at her studio. I think it's going to be interesting, to say the least. So tune in for that. All right, so the topic of today's talk, of course, is the easing out of travel restrictions, which luckily came about, and we're going to go through some of the news headlines related to that. All right, so let's go on to the news screen. So there is a little hiccup that I have with my audio. No, not with the audio, but I think with the video. Well, in any case, I'm going to read it out for you. So hopefully the software will start working and I can show you the thing. Also, never mind. So the news is coronavirus latest. Finland eases travel rules and ups testing, and Lapland scrambles to test the tourists. Let me find out the right amount. So before this meeting of the government that they had about tourism, the restriction was 8 positive tests per 100,000 population made in the 2 weeks, and that was one of the Europe's strictest rules to enter the country. So the new rules, which will come into power in the next Saturday, so a week from now, will allow for travel with the countries that have 25 positive tests per 100 inhabitants during the preceding 2 weeks. So we are upping up the limit a little bit. So with this limit, we have several countries on the list that can enter since next Saturday, and they will be Germany, Sweden, Poland, Bulgaria, Norway, Slovakia, Lithuania, Estonia, Iceland, Cyprus, Latvia, and Liechtenstein. All of them having less than 25 positive tests per 100,000 inhabitants. And that rule will apply next Saturday, and it will be updated on a weekly basis. So it's not like you can make huge plans that I'm going to Lapland like in the next month or something like that. This is more like a very, very kind of, fast. It requires very fast reaction to these changing conditions. So this limit of 25 positive tests will be in force for the next 2 months until November 22nd. So after which a new model will come into play. And this is the test and entry model. Basically, you would be able to enter Finland even though you're not on the list of the green countries with under 25 positive tests if you have done a test 72 hours before the departure, which is negative, and this is the test that you can present to the airliner or shipping company or any kind of courier that brings you here. And this time until 22nd November is required for the Finnish government to introduce the new legislation. However, there is a caveat to that. So if you're going to stay under 72 hours, you can just present this negative tests and be here for 72 hours and have a nice holiday. However, if you're planning to stay over 72 hours, then Finnish government would require to do a second test on the spot. And this has been a topic of a great critique from the local companies, because it might be a little bit expensive and pretty inconvenient to do the test. So tell me what you think about that. If you're willing to stay in Lapland for like a week or 2 weeks, are you willing to go through all that? So it would be interesting to know. So we're going to talk of some things that might be done to avoid this extra inconvenience. But first we're going to look at this whole situation that we have here in Finland currently. So for some reason I cannot show you my screen. Something is not working here. Okay, now I can show you, but not this one. And not this one. There we go. So this is the right chart to show. Okay, here we go. Here is it's almost what I want to show you guys. There we go. So this is the chart, which is unfortunately only in Finnish, that tells you about the latest development in the case. So here we have a timeline from February until now with the confirmed positive tests. And here we have March, when the travel restrictions came to be, and when all of the tourists had to leave Lapland all of a sudden, and we have a spike here at about mid-April to mid-May, and then we have a steep decline and the little bump here, or two little bumps here, in mid-November and mid-September. So another interesting chart here. You have two interesting metrics, the turquoise being people that are hospitalized, and the dark blue with the people that are in intensive care units. So here we have the situation. The maximum amount of people that were in intensive care unit was on the 7th of April, which was 83. And the maximum amount of hospitalized was, I think it was around 9th of April. And we have May, and starting from June, we are seeing very few people in the ICU units and in hospitals. So the last time we had more than 20 people in hospital was about 3 months ago on the 3rd of July. And the last time we had more than 2 people in intensive care unit was also 3 months ago on the 12th of June. So that is the current situation here. And we have 337 deaths. And we only seen 10 deaths in the last 3 months, which is very reassuring. And we also have information from the Finnish Institute of Health and Welfare, which says the situation remains moderate despite several mass exposures. And during the latest period, the number of positive tests was 223, which is a slight increase from 145. And interesting things, the testing capacity of the laboratories is more than 16,000 samples per day. And the percentage of positive cases of all samples has grown slightly from the previous week, 0.2%, but has remained very low. So 0.03% from all of the tests are being deemed positive. So we have a very interesting conversation going on at our chat. I'm going to read some of the comments from you guys. So we have Stuart and Julia and Odile joining the chat. And Julia says, if it keeps myself and people safe, then yes, I would do the test. The UK is just awful. Jeanette says, we are due to travel in February for the 4th time. Kelly is asking, don't mind the testing, but would like to know if it applies to children also. That's a very good question. We have had 5 holidays cancelled, and currently our Lapland trip is the only survivor. Although I'm aware of the Finnish government requirements and that things may change. We have been home since March and would like to visit as we do every year. So the double testing thing, as I said, was the number one critique for this new model. And currently they haven't told that it would apply separately on children or adults. I think they're assuming everyone should be tested, but I hope they will do something about it. And Renata is saying, we are due in December for 10 days. 3 days in Rovaniemi and 7 days in Levi. However, the new rules don't think we'll make it. And Julia is saying, with winter approaching, you have to keep everyone safe. All the hard work can be undone. 2 tests are better than 14-day quarantine. Sadly, Australians are not allowed to leave Australia and nobody can arrive. And Stuart is saying, who pays for the second test in Lapland? Will it be the Finnish government? If you are traveling from a country that has less 20 per 100 cases, you will be required to take a second test. So Stuart, if your country has less than 25 positive tests per 100,000, then you are not required to do a quarantine, you are not required to present a beforehand test, and you are not required to do the test again here. So all of the countries which I've mentioned, starting from next Saturday, which is Sweden, Norway, Iceland, Latvia, Lithuania, Germany, Poland, Bulgaria, Slovakia, Cyprus, and Liechtenstein. They just can come for any reason, for for fun, for tourism, and nothing. No tests are required from you. So the situation with having pre-made tests will only start from November 23rd. So currently we are in transition period where we are measuring the 25 cases. So after November 23rd, I presume if your country still already has less than 25 cases, you will not be required to do the tests beforehand or the test on the spot or going for a quarantine. And basically you can stay for a longer time than 72 hours or 3 days. However, if your country is not on this list with it's not under 25 positive tests per 100,000, then if you still like to come, you would do a test at home 72 hours before the departure. You would present it to the airline carrier or some other party that would require this test, and then you can stay for up to 72 hours without the second test. And if you want to do a second test, if you want to stay longer, you have to do a second test. And the question is who pays for it or how much time it will require. Are very good questions to which I do not have the answers, because obviously it's not my idea. And the local tourist companies are searching for possible answers to that, whether it would be government or whatever this thing would work at all. So as this second testing has encountered so much resistance, hopefully this will change, although we cannot be completely sure if that will happen. So I cannot really tell you about that. So Julia is saying over 300 new cases in UK in 24 hours. Well, I think the important metrics are that people are not dying anymore with the same pace, and there is a clear trend downwards, and I think it's a very good news for all of us, and the percentage of the positive tests becoming much lower than it was in the very beginning. So as I was always saying, we have to remain positive, we have to keep our heads cool, we have to stay healthy, exercise, have some sun, have some healthy food, not junk food, and basically, try to do the Zen thing on on all of this storming happening around the world. I think it's the best thing to preserve our clarity of mind and our happiness. So Annika is saying there is no logic in this. Well, it's the government, so you have to ask them about what logic that they have. So we're going to go back to reading some of the news articles, because I think there is some interesting information, and some of that is in English as well. So let's see what was the context of this decision for the government to make, because some people saying the government was a little bit pressured to do that. And I have some news headlines. So our national carrier Finnair said that in August the number of passengers are down 86% year on year. So there was significantly few passengers than in August 2019. Another news, Finnair plans further flight reductions in October. The national air carrier will fly on average, they have to say on average. Who is making this? The national carrier will fly on average An average of 70 to 80 flights a day, down from 200. It was correct. I'm reading it wrong. And Finnair will fly to a total of 44 destinations in Europe and Asia in October with the reduced flight frequencies. So what happened next? Finnair had to slash some jobs, and the union slams Finnair's plan to keep 100 cabin crew and furlough nearly 2,000 others. So even the Finnish national carrier had to furlough workers. And another news, the union, again, was shocked as Lapland's biggest tourism group starts redundancy talks with 2,000 jobs at risk. Travel restrictions have sharply lowered demand for hotels and activities. Lapland's biggest tourism conglomerate, North European Invest, is beginning co-determination negotiation involving its entire workforce. That's a good way of saying of firing people. The group owns Lapland Hotels and Lapland Safaris, which usually employ up to 2,000 people during the winter tourism season, some of them short terms. This is based on the uncertainty as to how many international travelers can be brought to Finland. North Invest chair Pekka Soini said on Monday. So, and the union says it was a shock. On another news, one of the most popular tourist attractions in Rovaniemi, Santa Park, says that they're going to remain closed for the winter season. And Ilkka Lankinen, the entrepreneur running the place, said, we do not have enough domestic tourism to run the place. Santa Park has been employing 100 employees during the winter season, and 4/5 or 80% of them have come from abroad. So I think we have many news like that. I will read some more to give you more context on the news that we have. For example, Husky Entrepreneur says, we cannot slam the door closed and go away. We have to feed the dogs. And we have a story of 4 people involved in the tourism saying what the future is going to be like for them. Pasi Ikänen, a husky owner from Enontekiö, saying, we have 252 huskies that are running in the summer in our yard. If it's going to be a total slam, we will start training the dogs that they'll be ready for the winter season. In last winter, we had around 15,000 clients, and the percentage of foreign customers was about 98%. So it looks quite bad, says the guy. Also says that they spend about 50,000 euros on feeding the dogs per year. And Pasi is saying, I do not think we're going to let the dogs off unless we really have to. We will try to find home for them in some families like we do with the elderly dogs. So Pasi says the winter is not completely lost, but we have to make decisions. We also have Heidi, who has been working at the hotel in Rovaniemi, who doesn't have a job still. We have Mr. Ilkka Lankinen, the CEO of Santa Park, again explaining his decision to close Santa Park. So this is the kind of context that has been developing in the late few weeks or months here in Lapland that has pushed the country to make some of the decisions on changing the restrictions that they were implementing, and they did the decision last Thursday. Annika is saying, does this apply just to tourists? What about Finnish national currently abroad? As I understand, this will not apply to the Finnish nationals. This whole system with having to do the test and beforehand or afterwards. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think that is the case. So we have Julia Enders saying, Qantas has stopped flying until March 31st internationally. We have 70 cases in the whole of Australia, but sadly our government are locking us in. Let us hope for 2021 things can improve for everyone. I know a lot of Australians visit Lapland and Finland at Christmas. I hope everyone survives. Yes, I think we've really enjoyed this multinational scope of tourists that we had here in Rovaniemi lately. People from Asia, Singapore, China, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, US, and the whole Europe, and also South Americas and Central Americas. So we met some really wonderful people at our Aurora shop and also at our Aurora tours as well. So let's see next what now that you understand the context that Lapland, which is heavily reliant on tourism, how much it means to the local business people and also normal people, because the effect is such big on all of the lives over here. So we're going to see some of the reactions that we had, and this is coming from the news again. Some of these are in Finnish, but some of them are in English. I'll try to translate as best as I can. Headline: Lappish Igloo Entrepreneur. The decisions of the governments do not have yet the meaning. Everything was cancelled already in August, and now we are waiting for the flights. I think he means that the charters were cancelled. The entrepreneur built an igloo village in Kakslautenen, which is worth of millions of euros. Last year, they've seen over 60,000 customers, and now they have none. Entrepreneur Juhani Eiramo does not cheer for the decisions of the government to ease out the travel. The entrepreneur has been in business at Kakslautenen for 50 or almost 50 years. According to the guy, they do not have charter travel, and they're solely relying on the scheduled flights from Helsinki to the nearby airport in Ivalo. The resort has lost the bookings already in the end of summer, although from the beginning of August the schedule was full of bookings. And the guy has made lots and lots of investment in the business. So we have some other reactions. According to the CEO of Levi, Finland's travel restrictions, even after being eased out, is still one of the strictest in the European Union, and that has a big effect, especially on the British tourists. The CEO of Visit Levi, Yrjö Tapio Kivisaari, great guy, is happy that there has been some easing of the travel restrictions. However, you would not save everything with that. Yrjö Tapio says that the European Commission has proposed 50 positive tests per 100,000 when Finland is ending up with 25. And quote from Yrjö Tapio: Now when Finland is making more strict decisions, of course it affects us. For example, with the British tourists. We had 67,200 British tourists in Kittilä in 2019. And now we are waiting for the guidelines from the government related to the charter travels and the testing. And if the British tourists will not be able to arrive to Levi, it will be a big blow for the resort. So this is what the CEO of Levi is saying. And some more news from Levi. A cottage booking enterprise is saying we are expecting a cold winter in Lapland. The situation is catastrophic. According to the calculations, 2/3 of the tourism businesses in Lapland have more of the half of their income coming from international tourists. The biggest cottage booking enterprise in Kittilä, which is Visit Levi, says that they are discouraged by the press conference made by Finnish government, which is the 25 positive tests. And this decision does not solve the Lapland's charter problem. So the charters, there is no guidelines regarding the charters if people can arrive on this pre-made trip with flights and accommodation like we did before. And again, we have news from the European Commission that they would not regulate a free movement unless the number of cases is under 50. So, some more news. Let's see where I have that. So, Lapland's tourism entrepreneurs are skeptical about the success of the double testing. Pertti Yliniemi is saying about the decision of the government. Quote, "It feels like they do not want to they do not want tourism in Finland." So local businesses are evaluating that the mandatory tests for the people who are traveling from the countries which exceed the limits are going to stop people from traveling to Finland. So the guy, Pertti Yliniemi, who is the owner of Lapland Hotels and Lapland Safaris, from which we've seen the news previously that they are negotiating about furloughing some people or laying them off for the next season. Of course, I'm not judging, I'm just telling you the news. And Pertti Yliniemi is saying, quote, if somebody is going on a 4-day vacation, they would not want to spend a day on testing or queuing in the hospital, especially when the days have already programmed and they were paid for. And the operative CFO, no, I think, the director of Lapland Hotels, Rami Korhonen, it's also grim. This is the worst scenario that we were expecting. So in the more news that we have here, well, it basically goes on and goes on, and the CEO of Ylläs also agrees with Levi. And one of the local businesses in Ylläs, Äkäs Lompalo, Mirika Areva. Mirika, interesting name. Haven't heard that. She's running the Konijanka company there with horse riding, is saying it's possible that we're not going to have Christmas. So this is the kind of the sentiment. I guess I could go on and on and on about that, but this is the kind of sentiment that it's very present here in Lapland regarding these decisions. So basically, to sum things up, people are saying, yes, it's the step into the right decision, but it's not enough. The limit is too strict, and even the European Commission is 2 times less strict with their recommendation, and the double testing is a poison. And Mr. Marko Broos, who is in charge, who is the main doctor for infectious disease at Lapland's hospital that we have here in Rovaniemi, says that the testing practices are a big question. Going into the cottages and hotels in different parts of Lapland would be very difficult. So at some point there was the news that the government would pay for the testing, but it's not still confirmed, and nobody knows how it will be organized for tourists. So this is the kind of sentiment that we are having here in Lapland these days, and that's why the topic, the name of the stream that we're having today is if there is a future for tourism in Lapland at all, and what we can do about it. So the decision of the government presents more questions than answers, and I think that remaining positive, it's the best thing that we can do in this situation. Today we have been to the wonderful husky kennel in Rovaniemi, which is called Bear Hill Husky, and they had their open doors today, so everybody from local area who is living here or visiting was able to come visit the kennel for free and also take a short ride. And there was actually quite a lot of people, lots of locals. There was a great mood. The huskies were really wonderful. Everybody enjoyed them. There was some sausages, some coffee, some cakes, and you had this kind of very positive spirit in the air, and it gives me like goosebumps remembering when I was there. And the owners of the husky kennel, Valentin and Veronica, they really set a nice thing up, and I think this kind of positive approach will be something that will help local businesses to fight through these hard times. And there's actually a very nice live video from this morning that we did at the Bear Hill Huskies, so you can watch it on our Facebook page here, fb.com/allabout-Lapland. And we have some new comments here as well. And Karen O'Neill is saying, do you definitely have to stay in quarantine for the first 72 hours before getting the second test? So Karina, you do not have to do a quarantine for the first 72 hours. You can do whatever you please. If you come from a country which has less than 25 cases, you do not have to do anything. No test beforehand, no test afterwards, and you can stay as long as you want until the government maybe can decide something else about your country. and decisions about the list of the countries made for 1 week in advance until the 22nd of November. And after the 22nd of November, starting from November 23rd, if your country still has under 25 cases per 1,000, you can still come. No test beforehand, no test afterwards, no quarantine. So business as usual, have fun. If your country has more than 25 cases and you still want to come, this is when you are required to do the tests. So 1 test beforehand. And if you're going to stay in Finland for 72 hours, that's all that you need. You can leave the country without the second test. However, if you want to stay longer than the 72 hours, then you have to do the test locally, and we still don't know how to do how it will be organized, and it's still a matter of a big discussion. Hopefully a matter of the big discussion, something that can be adjusted for. Also, speaking about independent travelers, there is no system that is set that would control the second testing. So who is going to do that if you're going to stay in a cottage somewhere around Ylläs that no one knows where you are? So I do not expect that people will come and knock on your door. Well, maybe this. It is a crazy world, but it's not something that is expected. So the government has not decided this question yet. How will the monitoring of the 72 hours will be made? And we have no answer to that. However, we have very interesting proposition that can be made. So, for example, if your country is under 25 cases, just come and enjoy. That sounds right. If it's over the 25 cases, you do the test 72 hours before. You come to Finland for 72 hours, and maybe you can continue to some other country in Europe, which by then might have some different kind of restrictions. For example, as stated earlier, travel will also resume with Sweden starting next week, Saturday. De facto, we already had travel between Finnish people and going to work to Sweden and coming back. So no one can or could deny Finnish residents from entering back the country, and Sweden did not impose any lockdowns or any quarantines for people entering or any travel restrictions. And it is likely that this line of action will continue. So you might visit on one trip not only Finnish Lapland but Swedish Lapland, extending your trip for longer than 3 days here in the north. Or maybe there'll be some other countries which will allow for such travel. Maybe Norway, as a beautiful country, that might allow for you to enter, so you can do a little road trip in the north. Maybe Estonia, which is south from Finland, so you can visit Estonia, you can visit Helsinki, and then you can visit northern Finland and Lapland and extend your trip like that to the desired length. So I think there is some wiggle room here that will still make travel possible for everyone, and I think it's still doable. So this is also a message for Gemma, who says it's all sound too complicated for 4-day once in a lifetime trip. So definitely, if you're coming from very far away, coming for like a 3 days is too short. But if you are able to extend your stay like that by doing a tour with the different European countries, then it might be just a good thing. And as numbers are hopefully dropping in many countries, not all of them, of course, as we know, but in many countries the numbers are dropping, and we still have 2 months until this November timeline. So after November timeline, we might still have more countries on the list. Actually, I think we can look at the list again, so you can basically visualize that. I think I have it in one of these tabs here. Is it this one? Yes, it's this list. It's in Finnish, but I think we're going to sail smoothly through it. So here we have the blue color, which says that the country had less than 25 cases, and the dark blue says it's more than 25 cases. We have Kosovo here. We have Latvia, which has been on the blue side for this past few months. We are starting from April and we're ending until this 11th of September. So it's a pretty fresh list. We have Cyprus, which stayed below 25 cases. We have Liechtenstein. We have Finland itself, which had its spike in April, early to May. We have Serbia, which just got under the 25 positive test limit. We have Lithuania. We have Iceland. We have Poland. We have Germany. We have Estonia with 21.7, and we have Sweden. Sweden is a very interesting case. Sweden's situation is very interesting to observe, especially from this close. Sweden had in April had 77 positive tests per 1,000. Then we went 74, 93, 139 in June, 117 in June, July, and then it was under 50 all this time. And this past 2 weeks it has been 24.6, which makes it now legal for Swedish people to enter Finland. And of course, we welcome our neighbors because there are many relatives that share Finland and Sweden. So there are many families that has been divided by this. And now, hopefully, Swedish people can finally come to Lapland, and we can also go there legally, because it's nice to visit as well. Next, we have Bulgaria, which has its spike in about end July, and it's just under 25 cases now. So this is the list of about 10 countries that will be able to travel to Finland starting next week, Saturday, which I think, what day it is? Around 20th of September. But if we look at the other countries here, they are not too far away. We have Belarus here, which is, well, slightly a little bit 25 cases. So presuming Finland would allow for 50 cases in the past 2 weeks, we'll have another dozen of countries, including Russia, that would be able to comply to this rule without any testing. But currently it's not the case. We have Norway, which has seen a little spike of positive tests lately. We have, actually, Turkey has been doing very well, and in the past few weeks they just got a little over 25 cases. We have Greece, which is not doing that bad itself. I think they only had 0.9 cases, which is very, very low in May and June, so it's no wonder they're having a little increase nowadays. We have Slovakia, which is not very far away. Italy, it's not very far away as well. Very moderate numbers. We have Slovenia, San Marino, Monaco, Ireland. We have Ukraine, Denmark, which is bubbling up and down this magical 25 test line. And we have Great Britain here. So Great Britain has seen the spike in end April to early May with 83 cases, down to 55, down to 29, 20, 11, 13, 15, 20, 23, and 45 in the next 2 weeks. So I think it's still pretty moderate and far away from where you've been, guys, and I hope all the best for you. So next we have another interesting subject, which is Russia, and this is the country that I was born at, which had a very big amount of cases. So Russia went to around 100 cases, and slowly, very slowly, it has been going steadily down to just under 50 cases. We also have Hungary, Portugal, Switzerland, Austria, Albania, Belgium, North Macedonia, Netherlands, Romania, Malta, Croatia, and Czech Republic, which are not that far behind. So a little bit more cases in France, Moldova, and Spain. So if we are seeing all these trends and they're mainly down, I think there is hope that we will have more than the 10 or about a dozen countries on our list in the next future. What makes it difficult for travel in the next few weeks is that the list is updated every week. So basically, if you want to come to Finland or Lapland, you have to be like very quick. I'm going now for the week, and I'm going out, next Friday to be sure that you're on the safe side, or you keep an eye on the situation and make decisions if you're going to stay longer or if you have to get out of the country earlier. Actually, I think it's not even about getting out of the country. I think if you can get into Finland and you're allowed to stay a week, I don't know if somebody will put you on a test for another day of being here. I mean, you can just leave the next day if you feel like. So I think it's going to be pretty chill with that. So let's go for some comment. Julia saying my favorite is Ullas. Yes, Ullas is a great place, and we have also Stuart, who was a big fan of Ullas, and I think I'll go there soon. I have to be in Ullas again. So Karina is saying, thank you for the information. We're going for 10 days in log cabins, both Luosto and Ullas. If we can get the tests okay, depending on costs, this isn't too bad as long as we don't have to quarantine. So the testing thing is obviously a weak point, like double testing thing. Like, why not triple testing? Why not like quadruple testing? Like, what sense does it make? And as long as you're asymptomatic, and in what is the point of being tested? Like anyway, on the spot, if you're doing well. As we all know, asymptomatic people do not spread the same way as people with symptoms. And in Lapland, there is just so much terrain. Like you really, there's like the population density is 2 per square kilometer, like 2. So sometimes you have to go into great lengths to bump into somebody. Of course, the situation is different if you're visiting public places, but it's up to you. You can cook your own meals if you don't want to mingle around. And generally, the situation in Lapland has been really, really calm, even though we had people who tested positive frequenting some bars or restaurants. There has been no further cases from that. So if you are asymptomatic and you're getting a positive result, like, okay, looks like the chances are that it's okay. You don't have to worry too much about that. But anyway, you have a choice. Here, the people are all really mellow. We are going to restaurants as normally. We are going to the shops. I've seen one couple with wearing masks in the shop, but that's the only people I've seen with masks, basically. I mean, there's so much fresh air here to enjoy, so why do that? And when you're doing activities, especially in Ullas, or you're staying in a cottage, you are going from your cottage onto the activity, onto the skiing track, and like you're on your own. So if you don't want to mingle around with people, you can enjoy your privacy, or if you want to go in public, just go in public. It's very safe and mellow here. So next comment. My friends went to Corfu and had to get tested regardless, coming from a green list country. Every cab or hotel shop they went into, they were asked for code to show that they tested negative. Every day their hotel room was sealed, closed to show it's clean, and no one entered after cleaning. Yeah, well, luckily we don't have it this way here yet. At least there is nothing that in the government's decision which said that such drastic measures would be required. So you would only need to show the negative test to the carrier upon entering, and you would be able to leave without showing another test, because like, why would you show a test result after leaving that you're already leaving? So that doesn't make any sense. So only upon entering the country would have to show it. Karina is asking, if we go over 50 per 100,000, would we still be able to allow it with a negative test? Yes, that is the main point of this new test and come program, which will start around November 23rd. So again, to clarify, if under 25 cases, no test, no quarantine, stay as long as you want. And if you're over the 25 limit and you're on this so-called red list, then do the test and come. Do the test, negative test, and then come here for 72 hours. And if you want to stay longer, well, either change the country or do the test. And of course, as soon as we know about this second testing, how it's going to happen, I will be talking with you about that again. So Stuart is saying, so you could fly from the UK to Sweden, then onto Kittila. Would that work, or do you think customs officers at the airport would be onto that? I think that this is something would be allowed, at least on information from today, the 12th of September. So this is what I was saying. So if you want to extend your stay beyond the 72 hours and it is either problematic to get the test or you simply don't want to, then you could go to another country, neighboring country, which at the moment will have good travel conditions and no restrictions. Currently, Sweden is 100%, which allows that. I'm not sure about Norway or Estonia, which the two other neighboring countries. It will be an interesting question to look into if you could travel from Finland to Estonia and from Finland to Norway to extend your trip. But I think it's even possible to say that if you want to go to fly to Kittila and spend your 72 hours there, and then you would go to Sweden and spend your, any amount of hours you like there as well, and conclude your trip like that. Or you could go into Sweden airport, spend some time there, and enter Finland that way, presuming that Sweden will still stay on the green list defined by the Finnish government. So I think it will be possible. Of course, it will be something you will have to look at before you travel. And about the custom officers, currently we have customs officers operating on the border between Finland and Sweden, and basically they are controlling that no other people except Finnish people are allowed to the country. But starting from the next Saturday, it was said that they are going to leave their posts, and there will be no traffic control no customs control. Traffic control is the bad word. No customs control between Sweden and Finland, as it used to be for the past 20, 30 years. So we have to look on the situation, how it is with Sweden. Kelly is saying, I'm happy to stay for 72 years and spend money in Lapland. I'm so sad to know that the locals are struggling due to lack of tourism. I hope everyone who has trips booked does make it. God knows we all need something to look forward to. So, Haley's saying, we got to Ullas on 16th December for 4 nights. If we have between 25 and 50 cases per 100,000, we must have a test no more than 72 hours before the travel, and then the test again on arrival, no less than 72 hours since the first test. So how soon do we get the test results for the tests on arrival? If not immediate, I guess we need to quarantine until test results come through, which hopefully it's only the arrival day and so not too bad. Hope I've understood it properly. Yes, Haley, you've understood it properly, although I think you do not have to quarantine for the first 72 hours because you don't need to do the second test before that. So if you're going to stay beyond 72 hours, so the next, as far as I understand, you're arriving, Monday at 9 a.m. and you can stay 3 days here. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday after, if you're planning to stay in Finland after 9 a.m., then you go to test, and you would be waiting the test in the quarantine. Although I would say in quarantining in Lapland, it's pretty mellow if you're staying in your cottage. And if you want to go outside on the yard, I think it's okay, as long as there are no more people. And as I was saying, there's only 2 inhabitants per 100,000 here. So maybe you would have to not choose the hotel. That is a little bit more difficult to self-quarantine. But instead like having a cottage for a family somewhere in the winter wonderland and do your quarantine there. And of course, the big question is how this quarantine will be, how the oversight of the quarantine will be monitored. I mean, that's a big question, and I think it's something that is the people will be responsible for themselves. How fast the tests on arrival? That is a very good question, and I think that local businesses will be very willing to assist in that and to solve it in the most swift manner possible for the tourists, although at this moment it is not unclear how it will be done and who will be paying for that. The tourists themselves, the businesses, if it's an organized trip, or the government. So it's definitely a weak chain in this double testing thing. So hopefully there'll be some change in that. Sharon is saying, I'm going to Ylläs with my twins for their 8th birthday. Hope we can still go. I hope that you're going to make this trip. Tanya is saying, thank you for the update. I'm due to go to Luosto for 4 nights. Everything is crossed for us to go. It's our first visit to Finland. Yeah, it's a very good question. What do you do if you're only staying for 4 nights? I mean, would you want to spend your 4th day here, like queuing for the test, or you'll just be okay? I'm leaving anyway. Like, wait up with your test. I'm leaving anyway. It's my 4th day. You make travel arrangements. So this is also this kind of a weak point in this 72-hour rule. Jim Jones is saying, I have your lovely bracelets from your shop to remind me of Lapland. Thank you, team, for ordering from our shop. We're very happy for the support, and we're happy that you like the bracelets. And all of you guys, by the way, if you like to support what we do, you can go to aurorashop.fi. This is our online shop with locally produced souvenirs from Lapland, Finland, and Scandinavia, and there is worldwide shipping. So this is aurorashop.fi. Go check this out. What else we have? We have Maria. My elderly parents live in Lapland. The region normally has only 8 intensive care units. Please travel only if you feel healthy. Yes, that's a very good point. I mean, if you have a regular influenza, would you still travel? Would you be able to cancel the travel like that? So it's not very fun to travel when you're sick anyway. But with this current model that we have for 2 months, which is the transition model, you only have a 1 week ahead, or maybe 2 weeks from the decision is made oversight. So basically you will be making travel arrangements on the last moment, and you will also be aware of your health situation. So you will not be booking for 6 months in advance and not knowing what your health is. Hopefully, at least that's the case. Warren is saying, "Hi Alex, going to Ylläs again in February, hopefully. My question is, are there any local requirements for the use of face masks indoors or, for example, in restaurants or the supermarket? This would be advisable, surely. Are any local wearing masks?" So masks is a very funny subject. Finland has not been very good with their policy regarding masks. When the whole thing started, they were saying masks, no masks, masks, no masks, masks, no masks. So it was like, go figure. And the Finnish government even involved in buying masks from very, very shady businessmen and business lady. So they are not having a very good track record on masks. And still, they made a recommendation about wearing masks. I think I have it somewhere here. In the middle of August, I think it was 13th of August. And if we look at our chart, which tells us not only cases but people in the intensive care unit, so this is the height of the whole thing, which is March, April, May. And this is when they told that they are recommending for people to wearing masks. Right around here, this is when they recommend the masks. So that is about 6 months too late, I think. And did it matter? Doesn't matter anymore. That is a very good question, because I'm hearing stuff. Masks definitely help, and masks definitely are useless. So that is the mask thing. It is recommended, but not required on this kind of normal life that we have in Finland. Some of the places have made their own recommendations, like it's recommended to have masks on public transportation, but not in the shops, not in the restaurants, not walking on the streets, not meeting people, and so on and so on. Generally, I think the people are very relaxed here, and I do see some people wearing masks, but very few. Like, as I was saying, today I went to the groceries. Like, we have a big supermarket which was open here, and there were like dozens of people, to say the least, and I saw one couple wearing masks, and good for them. It's their choice. I went there without a mask because I do not see it necessary. Also, the restaurants, I haven't seen any people with masks, because anyway, how do you eat with the mask? It's not very comfortable, and very few people that are wearing masks. Mainly elderly, I think. There are some elderly persons that are wearing masks. Certainly, I haven't seen any person with symptoms plus wearing masks. It has been people that are asymptomatic that chose to wear masks. So I hope that this kind of answers the mask situation around here. And another question that we have. So this was for Warren, by the way. The question about masks was for Warren. Kate is asking, can you shop whilst in quarantine in Finland? Happy to quarantine, but would need to food shop. That is a very good question. What do you do if you're running out of food and you need to quarantine? Well, basically, even at the height of the whole thing, at the maximum, the shops were open and people would still go to the shops and buy their groceries. So I guess if you are starving, you have no other choice but to go, and it's better. Would be not so good if you quarantine and you die from starvation, right? So I don't think it's like that. It depends on where you're staying. If you're staying in Rovaniemi, you can order takeaway also. So that is a quite nice option. Or maybe you can be a little bit more preemptive and you can buy some groceries in advance. Or you maybe choose to go in the very early hours to the groceries when there is nobody on the spot. Possibly before, if you have to do a test somewhere, you would go to the groceries, get the test done, and then go home and wait and maybe relax on the porch of your cottage, watching the northern lights or enjoying the snow with your kids in the yard, something like that, and have this really soft kind of Lappish type of quarantine. So That's what I do. I guess the real answer is no. You cannot shop while on quarantine. So either you would do I would do you do either you would do delivery of the food, or you would go and buy your groceries preemptively. Haley's saying, thank you so much for your response. We are in a log cabin, and so if we need to quarantine on our last day, that's not a problem. Fingers crossed UK can get it under control before 33rd of November. Exactly. So if UK goes under the 25 cases, then all of the people from UK can just come and travel to Finland. If you're over 25 cases, then you do a test and then you come anyway. I think that's how it works nowadays. Sophie is saying, we are due to land in Finland on 12th December in Helsinki. Then we plan to get the overnight train to Rovaniemi and spend one night there, then drive to Saariselkä for 7 nights. If we have to take the double test, would we be able to take it as soon as we get there, or will we have to quarantine? Where would we quarantine? These are very good questions, Sofia, to which the Finnish government has not provided us answers. What I would presume is that you would do the quarantine and the test on your 4th day here. So if your 4th day is in Rovaniemi or Saariselkä, this is where you would do the test, and this is where you would do the quarantine while waiting for your test. Hopefully local businesses, as I was saying, will arrive to a swift testing, which can be done in a matter of hours. I think it's to all of our benefit. So it's not clear, however, if you can do the second test upon arrival to Finland, like to do a test again in Helsinki and then have like a free pass for the whole week. This is still unclear to me too, and I guess for the government as well. But hopefully we'll have answers to that. And if for some reason this double testing would not work for you in Finland, so you could make a correction in the travel plans and, go to another country till the end of your trip, which does not require you to do all that. Hopefully Finland will be able to allow for more than 72-hour travel to Finland and make it a little bit easier. Sophia is also asking, where would we likely to have quarantine on our travels, you think? I think booking a cottage will be the best decision, or an igloo cottage would be the best thing to do. You can order some food inside, or you can have some groceries. You can cook some food over there. You can basically, when we had quarantines here, I think you can, if it's a cottage with a yard, you can go for a walk in the yard and have like it's a very soft quarantine. And another thing, like for me, it's really stupid if you were staying in an igloo cottage and you would want to go outside in the night for a walk by yourself, only with like your family, which is quarantined with you, and you're not meeting any people. Like, how is that breaching the quarantine? I do not see myself as a breach of quarantine, but maybe the government or the law might see it as a breach of quarantine. So we don't have strict guidelines on that. So who will be oversighting tourists in Lapland in their cottages in the forests? Are they self-quarantining or not? That's a very good question. So Stuart is saying, you're a world of knowledge. They should give you a job promoting the whole of Finland. If it's not promoting ski resorts, the hotels, the lakes, the food, the place to visit, the weather, northern lights, and now the virus. Until next time, Julia, take care. So Stuart, thanks a lot for joining in. I'm doing what I'm doing because I love Lapland and I want to share my knowledge on that. So that's basically what we do. And if you would like to support us, just liking and sharing our posts and sharing knowledge about our channels, our All About Lapland channels on social medias is the great way to help us. And Another way to do that is to go to our aurorashop.fi, and if you're looking for some presents or souvenirs, like really nice made, locally produced souvenirs from Lapland, you can order those with worldwide shipping and help yourself with nice products and help us a little bit as well, keeping us busy. Kate is saying, is testing mandatory for all people or is it adults only? For that, we have not received an answer. I think it will be pretty counterproductive to test kids, but the government has not clarified that if the whole family should be tested. For now, we presume that everybody should be tested if the tests are to be done. The costs of private tests in the UK is likely to be quite high, so this will be a factor for large families traveling. Yes, and Kate, you're absolutely right, and I think this is one of the reasons why the double testing policy is so much criticized by the major Lappish entrepreneurs. They understanding it's going to be, first of all, it's inconvenient. The second thing, it could be expensive. So that's why we are looking to find solutions for that. So would the government Finnish government would pay for those or not? Also, the timeline of the testing beforehand going to Finland could be very intricate. So you would have to do it 72 hours before your arrival to Finland, and that can be proved a little difficult. So I hope you could be able to find such a company or a doctor who will be able to do you like a swift test that you could present. Maybe if you have to pay some extra money for that or small money for that, you would be able to do it in this manner that the test will not expire. So going on to the next comment, Sharon is saying, I arrive in Nulles with my twins in 2nd January for 8 days. We would have to have a test on the New Year's Eve. Then I think with the Christmas period, test result may be delayed. Already in the UK, there are problems with excess in tests. I hope the Finnish government change the rules before we come. I really hope for that too as well. So really hope this will be changed for the best, or at least made easier. Sherilyn is saying, does the K-markets still do the order online? Was very handy to order then arrived. Yes, many of the K-markets in Finland do delivery. I think we have at least one K-market in Rovaniemi which does that, which is the central K-market. Also, there is a K-market in Ylläs, which has acquired 2 refrigerated cars to deliver groceries to the people in the area, and I think they're covering the area up to 100 kilometers. Basically, you would be able to order from as far away as from Ylläs or Muonio if you're ordering from that shop, which is called Jonin Kauppa, I think that's what it's called. So I'm not sure if other Kmarts in other smaller villages will do that. Probably not all of them will do that, but at least in Rovaniemi we have a delivery, or we have also pickup if you're going up, if you're ordering in advance and you just pick up at the back door. So I think it could be a pretty good way to maintain your distance. I think there are more than one shop in Rovaniemi that also allows for ordering and pickups. For smaller villages, I do not think so that they'll do deliveries, but I guess having a good cottage with cooking facilities and buying some groceries in advance while waiting for this hopefully positive test will be the right strategy to enjoy the vacation. Haley's saying, you have to pay for the private pre-travel test, which is roughly £139 per person. Wow, that is a lot. Not sure if Trindle needed to be tested though. So again, pretty good question and critique for the tests. Sherling saying testing would be done with a private company, not NHS. Yes, likely so. This is what you would have to be doing. So adding up to the costs. Mia is saying some link. I think we have covered most of the stuff here. Thanks a lot. So it's been a very long stream, and I'm very thankful for you for being so active and helping to spread the word about the latest situation here in Finland. So once again, we are really mellow. I think, judging from the charts, it all became really cool. The situation became really cool already in June. So we're like 3 months already having a really moderate numbers here in Lapland. In Rovaniemi, I think we had under 30 cases during this whole shebang, and the borders are reopening again, hopefully for a longer period of time and for more countries this time, and definitely a step into the right direction, but maybe some correction of this course would be required. So it's been a long stream, almost 80 minutes now, and it's half past midnight here in Lapland, so I'm going to call it a night. In less than 11 hours, in 10 hours and 30 minutes, this is the plan, we're going to start a new live video from the workshop by Irene Kangasniemi, a local artist who made this wonderful drum, which is my drum that I play sometimes, and we're going to discuss with her all of these wonderful product that she makes. She's a great source of information on all of the handicrafts and all of the Lapland stuff. So I'm going to get some short sleep, very short sleep, and pack my gear and do this next live video for you guys tomorrow morning. So of course you'll be able to see it as a recording here on our Facebook channel and also on our YouTube channel. Maybe we'll also record it as a sound version and do it as a sound podcast as well. But I think the visual part will be very important. Seeing this woman Irene and seeing her place and all of the handicrafts that she does there, it's totally amazing. So look forward for our next Aurora Shop special number 3 with Irene Kangasniemi. So this has been Alex. As soon as I know more about this whole testing shebang and whatnot, I'm going to tell you all about that. Thanks for tuning along, and stay positive, stay healthy, do exercise, don't eat junk food, don't watch the news. Well, watch less news, because there's only, things to make you agitated. Keep cool, as we do in Lapland. Take cold showers, and try to enjoy life, try to support the people who are around you, start to support your family members, call the person that you haven't called in a while, or email them, or do a live video yourself on your channel and try to inspire people to stay positive. I think that's the best advice or message that I can give you guys. All right, bye bye.